Hello, it's Paul Mooney here, and I'll be here for about 15 or 20 minutes introducing you to some ideas that we call cohesion. The strapline for cohesion is about creating value without harm. So this is the beginning of the story of me telling you about what I did for 40 years, and then what I did during lockdown for 2 years, and what I'm about to do over the next 5. Between 79 and 2019, I spent 20 years in corporates. Then I had 10 years of enterprise experience by creating a mobile applications company called Textus. Then I went on the road for about 10 years. I created Cohesion and the ideas of a technology platform called Cupid, Quantum Potential Infinite Data. And very importantly, during that time, I built a no-loss business model. During those last 10 years, I developed human processes, mainly in South Africa. I developed intellectual property at Da Vinci University, at the University of the Free State, at the Institute for Global Dialogue. I had over 80 paid proofs of concept. During that time, I had company valuations in excess of 10 million euros. I raised 550,000 euros while I was in South Africa, and I worked with about 8,000 clients. When I came back to Ireland in 2019 and hitting COVID, thinking I was going to be doing executive retreats as we were doing in leadership development, I hit COVID and I had to put some of my work online. But what I did during these last 18 months, 2 years, is created a profitable Irish company called Cohesion Global. We tested the dialogue skills as what we call a distant intimacy process on Zoom and in person, about 60 of us. We have about 250 hours of dialogue completed, over 250,000 words. We gathered in the 24 people in the South African community, and we added in about 20 Irish people into that. So as I say, at least over 40 people in the project now. And we've been lining up projects and alliances so that after the 22nd of October, we're ready to come out of the gate. In the next 5 years, I'm going to build a global business on the back of the demand for large-scale deployment. I'm going to build the Cupid technology, transfer the methodology to be diaspora-wide, which means all of the Celtic nations, because I'm seeing a vision for Ireland as the cohesion dialogue capital of the world, which takes in our Celtic past, grounds it in our dialogic present, and codes it into our quantum future for the 150 million Celts on Earth. So it means I'm pivoting from solving toxicity in organizations and communities to being an indigenous, post-COVID, transformation, Celtonomic phenomenon. And I know they're fancy words, but I am writing a PhD, so something has to be fancy. We'd like to become the IBM meets Stripe of dialogic leader development and coherent decision-making. These are the clients that we've worked with over the last number of years. I won't leave it too long, but needless to say, we have lots of experience of actually working with clients. Now, our business model has 4 parts. It's consulting, it's workshops, it's training, it's licensing our technology, which gives us access to the next leader, and the leader after that, and the leader after that. So what we get is multiple bites of the cherry as soon as we get a client into our system. And just to give you the context around digital transformation, these are the European Union numbers. They want to bring adults with digital skills from 56% to 80%. They want to triple the number of ICT professionals, digital infrastructure going from 59 to 100, cloud tripling, big data multiplied by 5, artificial intelligence multiplied by 3, small to medium enterprises with a basic level of digital intensity going from 60% to 90%. And they want to double the number of unicorns. Now, what's a unicorn? The unicorn is a €1 billion startup, and I'd like to be playing in that place. Digitization of public services really expanding out. The Europeans are going to be spending 127 billion euros on this digital decade. If you look at the price of what's being spent in the existing market, there's about 2 billion euros being spent on staff development in Ireland, about 5 billion in leader development, 18 billion in talent globally, 25 billion in human capital, 83 billion in employee engagement, and a whopping 400 billion euros being spent on leader development every year. This is our lean business canvas. These are the problems we solve: cognitive waste, organizational coherence, fragmentation, misalignment, attending to the post-COVID world of work, underperforming potential. Our segments are corporates, governments, NGOs, communities, social enterprises. We work for leaders who wish to develop themselves and their people by changing how they think, which changes how they deliver. Our unique selling proposition is that for every 10% shift in our dashboard that we put into the organization, our client gets about 6% increase in economic output. When we deploy our work in communities, for every 10% shift in community balance sheet, it doubles their social capital. So our solution is to deploy our methodology, and we do have an unfair advantage. The deep collective intelligence drives recurring demand and deep loyalty because we know where the bodies are buried. We have multiple revenue streams, as I say, about 90 grand to bring in the technology. We charge 2,000 euros per person per day. We charge 3,000 euros to train a guide. And when we get to the technology that we're building, it's 20 euros per user per month plus the customization. Our cost structure is a no-loss business model, which means we don't take on work unless we have an over 60% margin. We charge IP and license fees. We do have to pay some of them back out, but we have an on-demand guide system as revenue shares. So we actually don't have any employees other than the core HQ people. And we have a low-cost virtual operational structure. These are our metrics, how our margin does, our revenue, the number of customers and clients, our licensed users, our dialogue circles, the number of guides, and the number of queries onto the platform itself. And our channels are direct in Ireland. Our in-house guides, once we train somebody in an organization, they find new work for us. Our value chain referrals, the people they talk to in the dialogue circles. We also have two important relationships. One is with TUS, the Technology University of Shannon, and with IBM. There's a 1-minute video pitch. If you get a copy of the slides, you can have a look at that. I'm not going to play it now. So here's what we actually do in organizations. We work with the leader. We help them to expand their thinking so they become a strategist, plus or minus 6 hours. Then we bring the executives away in a 3-day breakaway. We usually charge about 20 grand for that. Then we work with all the members of the system, bring them away on a 1-day breakaway, and in a system with 200 people in the pod, it's about 200 grand. Then dialogue guides, we train people how to run our circles. We charge 3,000 euros per guide. And then those guides run circles in the system. So now you're seeing a more coherent system within the organization. Then we deploy the dashboard. We're measuring 100 items in real time all the time. Then we map that to the profit and loss account and the balance sheet. And then we can continue working with these individuals in their educational processes, both academic, personal, and professional. I'm not going to go into this in detail. This is the kind of stuff that we get by running our methodologies. That leaders are incoherent, the excos are immature, the followers are fragmented, and systems are massively dysfunctional. So what do? Our proposition is that we become the Stripe meets IBM of coherent decision-making. And we generate no loss revenue for energy transmissions and economic transactions and every human conversation and business decision. In our customers' business, and that means we deliver and we teach online and presence-based cohesion dialogue processes. We licensed gamified dashboard technology and chatbots, and then we link those circle outcomes to the P&L on the balance sheet. And in the future, some of this will be coded up as what we call ARIGID, which is based on our technology Cupid, quantum potential infinite data, which will be a shared value, Keltonomic cyber currency. So here's what goes on in a circle. The leader begins to think strategically, we get paid for that. The exco begin to be more resilient, we get paid for that. Staff become more cohesive, we get paid for that. We train guides how to run circles, we get paid for that. The technology goes in, we get paid for that. And all of this, we eventually see there being a device on the floor of the circle called NORA, which is a noetic aura device. And when this circle is coherent, it will glow green. Yeah. When it's moving into Real creativity, it's going to glow purple. And when they are beginning to be incoherent, it'll glow orange. And this will be a reminder to them to come back in. And we're going to be using text, the AI understanding and heuristic understanding of what they're saying and how they're saying it. So for one intervention, you can see that we get about 350,000 euros. However, the client, what are they getting? At least 3 million, because a lot of the waste that takes place in the executives is costing them a lot of money. Okay. And there you can see Nora. She nudges circles towards coherence. We charge about $2,000 for one of those devices. This means you get mature leaders. The followers are more accountable. The executives are better at group performing. Nora assesses the collective wisdom. You get peer-to-peer value creation, and every thought and word is tracked for value creation on the P&L and the balance sheet. So on the projects we've done so far, services gone up by 8, revenue by 9, margin by 6, efficiency by 12, resilience by 13, productivity by 14, and leader group organizational coherence by about 18%. And most organizations go up one level from 7 to 1. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this data. This tells us the kind of stuff that's going on in the system that we harvest to go to the next level and helping the system to be coherent. Deloitte, they did a survey. Just going to pause that. So stakeholder capitalism is changing, lifelong learning is changing, workforce development is now shared responsibility, change is a cultural process, millennials want the new transfer of knowledge and to give their own knowledge, and customers decide with technology, so it's going to be no different for employees. Again, once you get a copy of these slides, there's another 3-minute overview, but I won't play it. Okay. So what are you going to be doing in the next 3 years? Well, this year, I hope to generate about 150 grand at 50% net profit. We're going to use the guides in South Africa to handle the content while I train the Irish guides. We're going to be using chatbots to do the minimum viable product, and we're going to align with TUS in Shannon, with IBM, with Stripe, and with Tigam. We're going to agree our co-host location around Lough Derg. We're going to set ourselves up in Tipperary, and we'll begin to assemble our core executive startup team while we start to apply for the dialogue grants to test dialogue in Indigenous Irish communities and cooperatives. Next year, should do about 2.8 million euros if we get on revenue, and at that point, it'll be 15% net. We'll deploy 10 pods. We will apply for Peace Plus and our Rural Future funding. We'll align with ICOS and IFAC. We'll certify guides. We'll launch our Thinkific program. We'll certify the guides at level 6. We'll attract angel investors, begin the technology, apply for Digital Decade funding, and then we'll begin to onboard our clients into the 20 euros per user per month technology as we prepare for our Conscious Companies 2023 Global Summit. By 2023, we should be doing about 2 million in net. We'll by then attract a tier 1 global investor. We launched the community dialogue on Springboard. We launched the SME dialogue as a skill net. We'll be continuing to build Cupid. We'll align the quantum balance sheet with IFAC Ireland and IFAC Global. We launched the QBS with at least 10 blue chip clients, and we'll begin to seek a trade buyer. So by 2025, we expect this business to be sold. We license the dialogue with as many people as we can, and we'll run the Conscious Companies Global Summit as a marketing program. So right now, these are the clients that we're talking to: Anglo American, IBM, Explio, the HSE, Microsoft Glanbia, Bank of Ireland, the Arise Fund, and Farm Ishka, Western Development Commission, and we're working through the local enterprise office in Tipperary doing all that. In terms of our numbers, as I say, should do about 200 grand before the end of the year, 2 million by the end of next year. And the big idea is that if we align with IBM, as we're planning at the moment, we'll begin to add in ERP technology to the dialogue process revenue. So we'll be embedding Cohesion dialogue to become mission critical to value creation in the Irish SME, enterprise and community sectors. And we hope to become as ubiquitous to employee engagement as Stripe is to fintech and as embedded as IBM is to computers. We will donate 50% of our profits to help Celtic Crescent develop the social enterprises of education, healing community, sacred space, Brehon Law and Celtonomics. And numbers there, if we continue to grow, will be 5 million net, 7 million net, 10 million net, cumulatively about 26 million net between 23 and 25. Now, we can come in from many different angles, and I know people try and pigeonhole us straight away. Well, you're leadership, or you're HR, or you're a CIO, and the answer is yes, all of the above. So we can come in through leadership development, employee engagement, group collaboration, dysfunction, business optimization. So we can get into the CEO, the CFO, the COO, the COO, etc. We can come into the unions, we can come into the board, we can come into the shareholders. Many ways for dialogue to find its way. These are our testimonials from South Africa. And these are the demonstrations. When you get a copy of this slideshow, just click those and you're going to see those Zoom links. So far, we've built up about, as I said, over 40. I've just shown 36 of them here. These are people that we call in when we want to do work on a revenue share basis. So we don't pay them as employees. This is a gig economy, okay? And there are multiple ways for us to explain the dialogue theory which applies into their business. So we can come in from implicate order, we can come in from coherence, we can come in from thinking, we can come in from communications theory, we can come in from leadership development, and this is my favorite. Dialogue as fractal geometry. If a dialogue circle becomes a perfect fractal, to the degree that the businesses or the organization or the community is able to repeat those dialogue circles, they will begin to expand in a coherent way. Competition-wise, nobody's doing dialogue the way we're doing it in Ireland. We have competitors abroad. In terms of technology, nobody's doing the technology on planet Earth. And so we have first mover advantage at IBM scale. This is our technology. I'm not going into a lot of detail. We've built our first platform. We hope to build our second platform with IBM. And this device here called Nora will be this desktop conference device, which measures the coherence of the circle. This is our sustainable advantage. There's very high psychological safety in what we do. Fragmentation is safely mined. We identify the foundational cracks. We can get to business intelligence in 90 minutes. And I'm not joking, staff change in 3 hours, leaders change in 6 hours. This is PhD in gamified technology. We're transforming dysfunction into margin. We link leadership to the P&L and balance sheet. And our dashboard is an internal sales tool. And when we get to the space where the quantum balance sheet, we know where the bodies are buried. In terms of the reasons why we'll be successful, based on the main reasons for startup failure, we never make a loss because we don't do business unless we're writing 60% margin. We always have the right team. We're going to be acquired by our clients. Our pricing is flexible. We sell dialogically. We're investor agnostic. We can come in through crowdfunding. We can have an investor. We can have a capitalist. We can have a grant. We can have a client fund. We don't mind. And we've gathered a millennium of passion and wisdom in these 40 or 50 people. We use what we call fractal expansion. Once we get a perfect size in a client organization, we just go, and it blows out by itself. We're focusing on Ireland and our diaspora. Our first client is our company maker. We never burn out. We help clients in their professional development and their personal development and their academic growth. Our post-COVID timing is perfect. We have no regulatory barriers and dialogue dissolves disharmony. And we're also able to pivot very quickly. So the ask, if you're an investor, we want to take on board 5 investors now just to share the wealth. 5 investors coming on at 50 grand each on a loan note, and then a conversion at 50%. And we'll match that with Irish government client funding, EU grants and crowdfunding. So at the moment, we're going to take on board about 500,000 euros. Our current assets are our clients and our prospects and our profitable proof of concept. Our methodology is tried and tested. We'll be building on scalable cloud platform. We have our experience, our testimonials, our materials, our training guides. We have an on-demand community, and we have a strong and experienced on-demand team. We de-risk it for our clients and for our investors by having the Irish company develop a patent, first mover advantage, potential for special purpose tax vehicles, de-risk it by sharing the load, a clear and focused exit plan, the fact that we have sweat investors who've been doing this for 10 years, and we want to risk match with investors, grants, crowdfunding, and clients. If you have a copy of the video, you're going to be able to see a 4-minute kind of closing. But just before I go, this is a 5-year plan. If you want to stay with us for 10 years, this is what we're doing. Okay. We want to initiate 10,000 leaders, executives, and staff. We want to train 20,000 community activists. We want to invite 5,000 Celtic diaspora leaders to train in dialogue. We want to make Ireland the capital of dialogue on the planet. And by establishing also a digital Brehon monastery for the Celtic diaspora. Okay, 2030. If you want to stay with us for 500 years, here's what we'll be busy with. Indigenous past, dialogic present, quantum future, all of these resources, all of these technologies, collective autonomic coherence, that's busy what we're busy with, fair shares commons, and our branding. And then we'll be running Cohesion Global, the Guild of Ancient Dialogue, Sanctorium, which is our physical space, the Communiversity, which is our education space, Ovation is our healing space, and then our final thing will be our currency. This is a 500-year plan. Thank you for listening. I hope you have been able to get a sense of what we're trying to do. It's quite difficult in 10 minutes to try and explain what's happened in 40 years and what we're going to do in the next 500. I've done my best. If you get a copy of the presentation, enjoy the videos and please ask questions. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.